Welcome everyone to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, March the 24th, 6:40 p.m. Thank you for your support. We are live, about 30 people live right now. Thank you so much for being here, and definitely exciting pod episode today. If you're listening, again, thank you for your support. We're available as well on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. On Apple Podcasts, we are on audio form. On Spotify, we're also on video and audio. We're also on X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We're live right now. If you're on YouTube, leave us a comment, subscribe to the channel, drop us a thumbs up. If you're on X, retweet the video, and it will help us tremendously. I want to start by definitely congratulating, Orlando City. I mean, they're playing tremendous. It was a phenomenal win. I don't know if based on the predictions, anyone here at LPO got it right. Well, we'll ask John just a second, but definitely everything is falling into everything is making sense, for sure. A lot of Alex Freeman, uh, tremendous. I mean, what can I say? It was a phenomenal win today. We will be talking about not just Orlando City. We'll be reviewing the DC United win 4-1 against DC. United States losing to Panama and Canada. Lions on international duty. And then we'll preview the game against LA Galaxy. We'll have the lineup and the score predictions. With me is John tonight. John, how are you, my friend? Good to see you again.
I'm good, man. What else is there to be? I'm so happy, right? What a weekend.
Yeah,
It
tremendous, man.
was 4-1 for Orlando City, 2-0 for the Orlando Pride. Wins all around, smiles on faces, lots of goals, lots of happy fans. It's good vibes. I'm feeling the vibes right now. Things are good. Things are vibing. So long may it continue, Luis.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely are winning, big time. Where our DPS is the first time that I believe all of our DPS come alive, and definitely there's gonna be some people that are gonna downplay that is DC, and they're gonna put the big question mark on, how can Orlando do it against the Galaxy? Well, the Galaxy, they're not looking too hot. I think right now the hottest team in the MLS right now, the one that's up in the rankings and the one that's taking the league, it's Orlando. So I
Most
feel like the
goals.
momentum Orlando
Most
has it right
goals,
now.
Luis.
Yeah, most goals, most assists in the league apparently as well. So
If I'd have
with this
told you
in
game week 5, we'd have most goals in the league. Would you to believe that?
Yeah, definitely. Designated players score again. DPs stepping up. Marco Pashalik, I guess that's how you say it. Definitely had to me the goal of the week. We had also two players, Alex Freeman and Martin Ojeda, on the best 11 for the MLS. So let's start with that. John, when we did our predictions for the season, Rookie of the Year, Alex Freeman, man, tremendous so far what he's been accomplishing, man. Minutes, plays, being in the best 11 for the MLS at that age. What are your first impressions on Alex's, man? Tremendous.
I mean, yeah. I think everyone always talks about like the athleticism of Alex Freeman. And I think that's his base starting point, right? Which for a lot of players, they don't have that. So that brings his kind of basement level up a bunch. But what you're seeing on top of that is a guy that is learning fast and is adapting well to playing at a higher level and just really taking every opportunity that comes to him. I see him developing new skills. I feel like his crossing has come on leaps and bounds. Defensively, he's made massive improvements. There's still some things, like his first touch and his passing sometimes is something to be desired, but you see the rate of his improvement and his development. I don't think we've ever had an academy player get minutes and then develop off the back of those minutes as fast as Alex Freeman has. I feel like he's a real example of what our academy can be going on forward from now. And I just, loving every minute of him out there, man. Like, I feel, I don't want to say that's not right. I don't feel bad for Dagger because I know Dagger is
Yeah.
a guy who will be a team player always and a guy that is going to do what he is asked to do. But, he wasn't playing particularly badly, but Alex Freeman's come in and just playing so well that now you're looking at that back line and Alex Freeman's a nailed on starting right back for us. Dagger is going to contribute in other ways. In fact, I think that's kind of more beneficial to his skill set, being able to use him in lots of ways. But Alex is just, come on leaps and bounds. And this goal, another goal. I mean, he's getting goals, assists. He's getting up in the attack and contributing. He's putting in his defensive work. He owns that right side of the field, man. And him and Pasalic, that relationship between the two of them and that partnership and that understanding is, just developing game by game. And I think it's only going to get better. And that right side for teams looking at our attack is like, oh, that's really scary. Like, it's a real problem. DC can tell you that.
Yeah, the right back position, it's definitely his, with very good reason. He definitely has had a great effect not only on this game, but on the previous game that he started as well. Constantly a dangerous partnership with Pasalic, like you said, on the right side. The cross on the opening goal, which we'll see in just a moment, beautiful. He's, the thing that he gives you is not only what he can do with his feet, but it's also the way he position himself to defend. And he's big. He's a big guy. He has big shoulders. It just makes him more of like a threat. And he's still growing. So this is the beginning of a great career for Alex Freeman. And Oscar Pareja had no choice but to start him. I mean, he had no choice but to tell Dagger, hey, you're gonna be kind of like Kyle, on that level, a jack of all trades type of player, a Swiss Army knife. And I think it's been working perfectly because when Dagger comes, he comes fresh, he comes influential, to help out wherever it's needed. So I think it's something that Orlando, it's certainly improved. It shows that the defense is improving game by game. Let's get some comments real quick here. JCB's 95. I don't miss Dagger, but Friedman owns that side. I hope to see Dagger find more time in the midfield. Pasalic, Chesita. Okay, thank you, Alonzo. Appreciate it. Banjo, Dagger turning into the new Kyle Smith. Dagger would be a better striker than Muriel, says Facundo Torres. Well, nobody. I'm gonna say Facu with all due respect, bro, but no one remembers you, bro. Sorry. JCB's 95. Peru won. I'm just kidding. Peru won. OCSC won. The Pride won. Good week all around. Thank you. Kako Caesars, Alonso Inca. Thank you. Jim D. Muriel melted my brain. I thought I was having a fever dream. Crazy times we're living in. Hope it continues. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's tremendous, the turnaround that he's had. Oscar praised him in the post press conference. We'll talk about it in just a second. DC, we're undefeated before Saturday, said Alex Yu for sure. And Benteke had no chances. I mean, he had a couple, but great job on the defense. John said 5-2. I think 4-1 is extremely close. Good prediction, John, says Alex Yu. Thank you so much, Alex.
Actually, on that, Luis, can you bring up what I just shared for you?
Oh, yeah.
Because I appreciate you giving me the props here, but it's not me who should get the props here, Luis. It's you, man, because you called it bang on with a 4-1.
There you go, man.
We were all positive, but we all had multiple goals. But you gotta bang on. I was sitting there like, Luis was right, man. It could have been 5-2. It could have been.
It could have been if Muriel would have scored a couple of those.
We could have scored 6 or 7, but yeah, as you can see, we're keeping track. And Luis is the first time in the season you've been the first one to get it exactly right. So congratulations to you. Well done. We'll, I don't know, make you a crown or something.
David Albury, what's up, guys? Happy Victory Monday. What a match. Thank you. Good evening, City fam, says Infinite BX. Giorgio, I forgot about Otero. I really liked him first match. Well, what a game he played. 5 saves. Unfortunately, another clean sheet. He's gone. It's not his fault. Yeah, I mean he's a great backup for Pedro for sure. I mean he definitely shows that's the reason why Venezuela it's ready to call him up as well. So he's better than Fariñas, that's for sure, in my opinion. So I think he had a tremendous game and good for him. Another young player that went through the system of Orlando City. I think that's the thing that I rescue the most. There's something good that and again this goes unnoticed, but Profe Baena, which is the goalkeeping coach of Orlando City, he turned Pedro's career like no other, and now he's doing the same with Otero. And Mercado is probably going to be as good. So I mean, you're talking about it's also not just the players being great, but it's also the goalkeeping coach. Baena, I think, is a tremendous asset for the club. This is, I have to admit, I'm scared to face LA Galaxy because they started so bad. I don't want they wake up right with us. Will Nicolas Rodriguez recover for this match? Um, I'm not sure. I think he's still moving. Uh, Stream Jesus, can I get a congrats? Mexico just demolished CONCACAF as we know it. We'll talk about that in just a second. Congratulations, Stream Jesus. I thought Stream Jesus was Brazilian, but it's okay. Hi, family.
Stream
Miss you all.
Jesus.
Yeah, looking forward to some foodie talk. Hi, John, says Stream Jesus. Thank you so much, my friend. Solid game against DC. We're strong at home, but weak away. Okay. I don't think we're weak away. We need to improve a lot, but I think we're on the right path. Fourth goal was stunning. Wow, all DPs on fire. What a finding is Pasalic. There you go. So you're putting the actual starting 11 for Orlando City.
Yeah, we just, on FootMob, I was gonna see what we got. Like Ojeda, we know our DPs in this one killed it. Ojeda with got a 9.4 here. I feel like he had a great game, 2 assists and a goal. I mean, just was the linchpin. I feel Muriel is like you'll see here on SofaScore, they only gave him a 6.9. I feel like that was a little harsh there. I don't know why they rated him down. He got a goal and played very well, I think, in this game. So Marco Pasalic getting up there, just showed where we're at as a team. I feel like everyone played pretty well. Otero, very solid game for a guy that this was his first real start.
Atuesta, man, he was tremendous.
Atuesta is, I mean, it just really, he fits in
He's
that
the heart of that
midfield.
midfield, in my opinion.
And the way that he's starting to connect is just, And we had Cesar back, which was great to see because obviously after last game, there was question marks over how long he was going to be out, but he's straight back in the next game. Santos, came on and played a little better, I guess you could say, in this one. Started and played a little better. So I feel there's some positives here. I feel like there was a lot of positives all round from the team. No one really had a terrible performance, right? We didn't have any of those glaring defensive errors that other games had brought. Like there was no one that you could turn to and say, oh, they had a real stinker. So that is always good. We were just talking about all the great performances and so much positives from this game, Luis.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best things, in my opinion, was how much the defense has improved. Obviously, it wasn't the perfect night; it wasn't a clean sheet, but we definitely saw before that the Lions would have given up 2 or 3 goals, and things will get a little bit out of control defensively. And I understand when fans say that the clean sheet would have been phenomenal, but obviously DC was not creating anything. If anything, Orlando did a great job studying DC with Benteke. I feel like that matchup he had with Jansen, even though physically Benteke was very imposing, Jansen wouldn't give up. He was also finding a lot of help from Freeman and from other players within the back line. And so definitely is. This is a performance, like you said, John, that this is, it could be, we could build on this, and we see a improvement trajectory for the Lions, especially in the MLS. When people ask you and they want to talk about numbers and want to talk about percentages and things like that, you can just make them go into the MLS website and see. Orlando has them right now, if not the best attack in the MLS, and the defensive outings are improving. So eventually we're going to come into that I don't know if this is the game. To me, I feel like playing against the Galaxy away, the Galaxy has a huge backpack on them because they're going to be playing probably on a sold out crowd. I heard a lot of new season ticket holders for the Galaxy. It's been a record year, especially because they were champs, and it's been a disappointment for them. They have a big they're going to come out fighting to get that first win of the season, John. So if Orlando proves that this trajectory is moving on the upward, it's a massive game, because you're talking about the MLS champs. You're talking about beating them in their own stadium. It will be, I think, a great trajectory for things to come. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, man, I feel it's a very good test for us. I'm sure we're going to talk more later about LA and everything, but it's exciting to have this result going into that challenge is what you want, right? Coming off of a big win, going over to the reigning champs on the other side of the country for a big game, feeling confident. That's what we want.
For sure. You're showing here some of the stats.
Yeah, just to kind of give you an idea of how dominant we were in this one. I mean, the expected goals, XG, if you are someone who enjoys that kind of stuff, at 2.82, very high. We had 20 shots total, 8 of which were on target. According to Football, we had 8 big chances and we missed 6 of those 8 big chances. So, we hit the post a couple times. I know, like there could have been a lot more goals in this one. It could have been 8 or 9, goals, I think, on another day. But with 44% of the possession, we created a lot more than DC, and really just shows that the dominance here overall from us in the stats and the way that we played, even though we didn't have the ball all the time. That's okay. I mean, if you look at the passing here, DC they've had more passes. They're doing that long ball thing. Whereas for us, it's not always about tiki taka like it was before. We're not doing any of that sort of back, lots of sideward passing in our half. I think with the likes of Atuesta and Pasalic and the new way that we're playing a lot more, direct. We're progressing the ball up the field much quicker. And that's reflective here in the stats of how you create so many chances, even though you don't have the ball as much. And just the way that we're playing, I think we're creating more chances and more goals than ever before, really, under Oscar, I feel like, currently.
Yeah, we're gonna be watching the actual goals in just a moment. I wanted to kind of touch. I know people want to talk about what happened with Angulo. Now let's kind of go into that a little bit and then go back into the goals after that. So imagine you going to work, right? And you expect to have your daily routine at work, whatever you do. And then all of a sudden, the company HR puts a new addendum in the employee handbook that you were not aware. And let's say before you go to lunch, you have to clock out a certain way. Or if you're a salary, you have to do something in order to go to lunch, a new procedure. So the player had no idea. So it was this was the first game in which the whole new MLS rule, and this is, again, I think the league look, it's a good rule. Don't get me wrong. I understand the reason why they want to do it, but just a player is focusing on playing. So think about it that way. So Ivan Angulo was substituted for Dagodan Thorhalsen. He took more than, but since Angulo took more than 10 seconds to leave the field, and the players were telling him, hey, this and that. And he was just not listening. He didn't know what they were talking about, essentially. Dagodan had to wait 60 seconds to enter the game. So Orlando was down 10 men. Now, are you going to bench Angulo over something that, they could have done a better job letting him know about the rule, or he could have read about it more. But I mean, he's a footballer. I mean, he probably barely reads the Orlando Sentinel. I don't know if anybody here reads the Orlando Sentinel anymore. You know what I mean? But what I'm trying to say is, it's probably was not the best, the way it looked as a fan perspective is you're looking at a player yelling and getting irate, and but he's just frustrated because he didn't know what he was doing, so and Dagger had to wait 60 seconds. He was pissed about that. So it was a lot of stuff that was going on, but it definitely doesn't contemplate the fact that we're going to bench Angulo. Who are you going to put instead of Angulo? Sukata. Good luck. John, what are your thoughts on that rule?
I think it's a good rule. I got no problem with that. I like it because, players, when you're losing, players take forever to get off the field. It's a classic, dark arts of it's the same thing with goalkeepers. I think they added a rule for that too, where it's even faster now. So Pedro's got to be careful about how long he's holding to get the ball too. So these little things are added in. And like you said, Luis, at the end of the day, it's your job. You got to know these things. And I'm sure they had a press, they sit down at the beginning of the season and they have these meetings where they go through. Maybe Angulo was on Instagram at that point. Maybe he wasn't paying attention in class. He missed the memo, the fact that you're supposed to do this. And he also tried to go off the other side of the field. He tried to get off this side. And I think that was adding confusion. I don't know if you have to go off on that one side where the player's coming on. I don't know, but that added into it as well. And it was just at the time in the stadium, everyone's like, what is happening? Why are our players pushing and shouting at each other? What is Angulo doing? What is happening?
Yeah, because the players were probably telling him.
Yeah, they were telling him, bro, you don't know this rule. Get off the field. You're gonna mess it up.
And then so he's yelling
in hindsight, it makes total sense. But at the time, everyone was so confused. Also, then you thought the refs just didn't let Dagger on if you didn't know what was happening. You're just why is Dagger not allowed on the field? So yeah, that's the first time that we've hit that rule. Hopefully that's the last time this season that happens, because not playing a man down even for a minute, that nobody wants that. That's not a good thing. Let's not ever do that, please. So I'm sure the players have learned this. They're going to have a nice meeting today about let's look at the rules again and make sure everybody knows. And Ivan was just a guy who, it happened to be that he was the first one to make this mistake. I think any of the players who were not paying attention to the rules and are not studying the changes like they should do, because they are paid professionals and this is what they're paid to do. They need to know the rules. So yeah, it's just an accident. Looked really bad at the time.
Yeah. And then,
thankfully, there's no other punishment than that. I don't think we get any sort of fine or anything. It's just, you get punished in the game at the time for players not leaving the field.
There were two very frustrated players leaving the field in this game. The first one was Ivan Angulo, because he literally was wide open on the Pasalic goal and asked for the ball, and Pasalic shot that banger. Actually, Pasalic took the, and so because he scored, obviously no one says anything to the goal scorer, right? I mean, it just doesn't. He just took the chance and did it and scored a tremendous goal. And another one that was very frustrated, if people missed it, was Duncan Maguire, because Ramiro had the chance. Orlando had the chance to put the fifth one. All he had to do was just pass it to Duncan, and Duncan was going to score that one. And if you would have seen what he yelled at him, it was and that happens in the best of families, man. I mean, if you have a brother or a sister, if you've never like cussed each other out or had like a discussion, it happens sometimes. Yes, it should not happen often, but man, Ivan played the most minutes last year. He's been very influential the past few seasons for Orlando City. And I think that just for making a dumb mistake, we should not like just shun them and send them to a corner, over that. Plus, we're short. We're really a short squad, man. We don't have a lot of replacements right now.
Yeah. And as much as like I don't want to justify Angulo's performances this year because I don't think he's been playing particularly well. But I think in this game to say he played badly would be harsh. I don't think that's true at all. I think he had as good a game as anyone. He got an assist out there. I
Yeah.
think the thing is when you've got all three DPs firing, Angulo's role in the team is to be
Secondary.
the defensive help out, but who's also will join the attack and do all of that. Like play both sides of the ball. Oscar's not looking at Angulo to be the guy to score multiple goals. Like maybe Angulo will, but we're not putting all that on him. And also here, in this game, the guy had 4 defensive actions and 5 recoveries. So that's why Ivan's going to be out there. There was a few games earlier this season where he wasn't doing that. If he's not doing the defensive work, then I'm like, yeah, that's what are you bringing to the table? Because attacking wise, he's not finishing his chances at the moment. He has got an assist, but in this game, he was getting out there, he was putting his shift in, helping out on the left side, getting the
Yeah.
recoveries, and winning the ball just like we want him to do. So I think Ivan is, hopefully going to have his improvements as the games go on, but not even just because there's no one else. I wouldn't drop him anyway because I think he is providing something to the team. That might not be as flashy as and exciting as the other attackers in the team, but he is doing a lot of work on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, it's I would have not even fathomed the idea of benching or killing Ivan over. I mean, yeah, I mean it's getting in the face of your teammates or yelling at your teammates. I understand. There's a lot of things that we may not know, even if you were there watching. That there's stuff that we don't even see in practice. What do you say? They play so competitive that they fight each other too. I've seen it happening in Peru and for Peruvian teams. They sometimes fight each other in training. So I mean, they're like a family. I mean, their wives know each other. I mean, they hang out together. So, but anyways, we're gonna check out the goals and then we'll go into the comments real quick. So let's start with the first one. A lot now, John. They're definitely you see more of a, like what you were saying, John, a more direct Orlando City. Not all
Oh, for
these
sure.
passing the ball around on the attacking third like 30 million times.
There's very little side passing. It's always guys making forward runs, players turning, looking for those guys making the forward runs, especially at Atuesta. I think you cannot underestimate that he is able to do something in the midfield that we did not have before, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think he's like that connector, man. That you could see, like, if God forbid something happened to him, but we lose that, we will go back to like literally. I don't know if we will lose a lot in the attack. I don't know if Oscar's ready for that, but I think Jurang Gerbe has shown that he's also kind of very similar to Atuesta on that form. So this is the first chance for Muriel right here of Kim, the goalkeeper for DC. And it came close, very wide, very wide. Obviously frustration, but the turnaround season. Do you feel it's going to be the turnaround season for Muriel? Obviously, he's right now scoring and assisting almost in every game.
Yeah. I put up a post about how he has got a goal or assist in every game so far of MLS. I think you can look back at the beginning of the season, and I was extremely critical of Luis Muriel, and I think rightfully so, because we gave him a pass last year on the basis of, it's year one, maybe he needs time to figure out his fitness. He came back from preseason, and we didn't really see much of an improvement in his fitness, and it was kind of, writing was going to say, oh, okay, it's going to be another year of average Muriel, and and then the last few games,
Yeah.
I think what has happened, Luis, is the man has finally realized that he has to actually put some work in if he's going to be good enough to play in this league.
Yeah.
And what annoys me is that he always had this talent and the skill. It was about really just that work effort. Like, it was about putting in a shift and actually committing to, playing here and being the guy that we need him to be. And I think something over the last few weeks has clicked where he's realized, I better get my act together or I'm not going to be here very much longer, would be my guess. I think maybe there might have been a conversation between Muriel and Oscar, or even Ricardo or Luis Muzi, where they said, fix it because we're paying you too much money. And
Yep.
Luis Muriel is clearly reacted to that. And now we're seeing the guy that we always wanted to see, right? Like, this is the player that we expected last year. Like, Muriel has finally got here, and this is always what we wanted to see. And not only that, he's doing it at the 9. All last year we heard from Oscar was like, oh, he maybe not a 9 anymore. Oh, look, he still is a 9. He can still run, he can still score. I'm not gonna say he was choosing not to, but it feels like that. So all for Muriel being here. Keep up this effort. I love it. It's awesome. We got all 3 DPs firing. Great. But just a shame that we didn't get this from the start, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the MLS it's a tough league to play in, but I feel like Muriel, yeah, like you said, he probably got told, hey, we are not afraid of pulling the plug here, and also he also saw the newcomers because that really, I mean, look, if I'm a professional soccer player and I'm the highest paid player, and then here comes 2 newcomers and completely on practice games or in preseason games blew it out of the park, like Pasalic and Atuesta, just by naming 2 of them. And I see, oh man, like these guys are the real deal. Like I need to put some work in. It kind of motivates you and pushes you so you don't stay behind the tide, because essentially if we would have seen the same Muriel of last year, I think we would have seen Ramiro in there. Like, we would have not seen him. So I mean,
and this year our ceiling was always going to be with Muriel. You know what I mean? Like, if we'd have done amazingly, it would have been always like, oh, we got 2 DPs and everybody else, but Muriel isn't doing anything. Now with Muriel also performing at that level, the ceiling for how good we can be this year with all 3 of our DPs performing the way they are just got a whole lot higher. So it's exciting from that perspective, as a guy that I didn't really think we were going to rely on this year and didn't think that he was going to be a big part of our season, now might be a huge contributor to our success this year, which is really what we wanted from the start. So I want to praise Luis Muriel. I feel like it's great to see what he's doing so far this season, and long may it continue.
Yeah, he's put in the work, according to Oscar in post presser. You guys can watch the video on our YouTube channel. He pretty much said, yeah, he's been putting in the work, and it's showing. So, but let's see, number 30, which right now it's my favorite player for this team, in my opinion. I think Alex Raymond is becoming alive. Phenomenal. Like, number 1, tactically, DC's backline is a mess, dude. Both center backs are more worried on Ojeda, and that's exactly what happened. No one sees Muriel coming, and literally, it's just, see, 2 are going to go mark the number 10, and they forget number 9 is right behind, and then Muriel just completely solo. What a header right there! Boom. Now, were you surprised with the header goal from Luis Muriel?
No, not at all, because Muriel of Atalanta and
Yeah.
everything that he did before, he could score goals left-footed, right-footed with his head, and I think now that he's in form, he's trying more things. He's just got great soccer intelligence as well. And if you watch this goal, he knows when Alex is going to put the ball in the.
Yeah.
He gives it over to him. He holds his run, and he goes, at some point, Alex is going to smack this into the net. I mean, to the box, and then I'm going to get on the end of that. And it's just a great sequence.
And then we have the second goal right here. It comes from a recovery from Atuesta. And again, Ivan right there, fighting for the ball, like you said, defensively, being a little bit more active defensively. And you don't give that type of a space to Tincho. You know what I mean? At that point, he looked for that goal the entire half. I was actually very happy that he scored that one. Um, and then Orlando comfortably 2-0. They controlled all chances. They control possession. They control literally. They did a tremendous job of the back line on kind of shutting down Benteke. And then the third one came. And who better than the rookie, man? His first year in the MLS, he's already has 2 goals. Alex Freeman. Amongst 3 defenders, he levels himself and heads the ball in. 0 chance for those 3 defenders to mark him, and a phenomenal goal. Everybody goes and he celebrates. It's 3-0. What were your thoughts on that, John?
I mean, for me, it was over after we scored 1 against DC. So everything in the second half was just, those second halves of Orlando City games where we're just chilling and we're like, okay, we're gonna get another goal. Like, what's happening? It was one of those games, which doesn't always happen, but it's really nice when it is. I had that sense of like, oh, we've got this in the bag no matter what. It's just a case of how many we score against DC at this point, and the way that Alex Freeman got this goal, and then Marco right after. At that point, it's the 56th minute, then, and it's 4-0. So you're thinking, could we get 5? Could we get 6? So it was just kind of a party that second half, man. It was a good time, and this goal from Alex Freeman, yeah, he's got so many things in his locker. His height is just another thing. He's one of our tallest players out there. Crashing the back post is something that he did all last year for OCB and got a bunch of goals. He knows every time that, Santos or whoever's out on that left side that's going to swing in that big cross that's going to hit the back post, he's going to crash the back post. And on this one, it was just, a great header and a good goal. And yet again, another really good performance from our 20-year-old rookie who is now getting attention more than ever. There's lots of people interviewing and lots of accounts out there wanting to post stats about Alex, and the U.S. men's national team youth ranks are all like, oh, this guy, it won't be long now before they start calling for Alex to join the men's, camps in January and all that kind of stuff. So exciting time for him. I think if he continues on this trajectory, then yeah, the sky's the limit for Alex.
Yeah, definitely effective on and off the ball. 2 goals, 1 assist. Per 90 minutes, he gets 4 ball recoveries. Typically, Orlando City will lose the ball 4 times. And now we have a back, in my opinion, one of the most promising backs in the United States. And even Oscar said he should be looked by the national team because, I mean, 4 ball recoveries per 90 minutes played. Yeah, it's tremendous for a defensively, and then offensively he can give you that. So definitely
You're
a
talking
bright
about,
future.
he's looking like one of the best right backs in the league right now. I mean,
I
that's
know, yeah.
wild to say that he's only, this is really his 5th game of the season being a part of this squad, really. And, he's just come on leaps and bounds. And yeah, can't say enough good things about Alex right now.
You guys have to understand, the United States has bred really good right backs and left backs that have played in Europe at the top level. One of them played in Bayern. I don't know if they still plays in Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Alphonso Davies.
He's got that Alphonso Davies build and vibe.
Yeah, he has that vibe. I mean, not to, put him out there. I don't want to put that big giant turtle shell on him, but I mean, look, Vancouver, but he came from the Vancouver system, from academy all the way to, and then it's the same path here we see with Alex, and a huge personality. Knows what to say at the right time. I think his parents also have taught him right. It helps also that his father knows what it takes to win and to be an athlete, and he just instills that drive into him as well. I mean, it's different. He's won a Super Bowl, so he knows what it is to be not only playing the big one, but to be part of a team that you're a Hall of Famer. So let's read some comments real quick, and then we continue with the goals, and then we'll dive into the U.S. national team. Vamos Orlando says the hunker down. Thank you so much. Welcome back, my friend. Stream Jesus. Thanks for clarifying, Luis. We thought Angulo was pulling a Vini Jr. with the gym bets in Brazil. There you go. From Ivans and Simon Williams. Thank you, Simon. Salty H2O. Atuesta is a beast god. I hope he stays longer than a year. Probably. We'll see what happens. John Merritt. It says he had a decent shot in the first half, just went wide right. There you go, Mr. John. Appreciate it. This is going to happen with the number of attackers we have. It's a long season and everyone will get their chances, says John. Appreciate it, John. Salty H2O. Nah, I don't think he needs punishment. It just looked bad on us. I'm pretty sure Ivan knew the rule. He just didn't want to come off, says Simon Williams. Probably.
It was his birthday. Some people are speculating like he was sad because he didn't get that goal.
Well, I mean, like
it might have been
both. Here.
He might not want to come off, and he didn't know the rule.
Well, look, to put cold pats on this, when they went to the post-game presser, you are by the locker rooms, literally. And what I heard was them singing happy birthday to him, everybody jumping on him, messing with him. I don't know if they had a cake or something, but then they started playing loud happy birthday Colombian music, and just, celebrating him in that level. So it didn't really look like they were in some sort of like they were upset with each other or anything like that. If anything, I feel like they dedicated the win to him, just like John was saying, So there's a lot of things that we may not know. If I wanted to score a goal and was disappointed that he was substituted, he felt like he can score in that game and to turn around his season. He just showed his disappointment that way, says Alex Yu. Okay, let's say he didn't know the rules, still pushed 2 of his own teammates. There you go. The entire sequence for the Pasalic goal was a thing of art. I was so proud of this team. Well, just a second. It looked like he did it on purpose to come off. There were some really impressive passing to defeat the press from our defensive side. There you go. Thank you so much. So let's watch the 4th goal real quick, which it is this should be nominated for, I don't know if it is already, but goal of the week for sure. Just look at this.
Side anyway. What a flip from Muriel to set this action in motion. Here's Pasalic cutting onto his left foot. Pasalic!
Now, even Tori Penso stood out and peeked her head in. And I was like, oh my God, that was a great goal. So what can I say about this goal, man? I mean, it's just tremendous. From the beginning play, everything was just perfection right here.
Chance for Benteke on the night.
The way Ojeda is so spot on, and then
here's Pasalic cutting onto his left.
And then Pasalic, man, he said it. My left foot is my weapon, man. He wasn't bluffing. Usually some players bluff, and he actually mentioned it again and the post press conference said, by the way, I said that the left foot is my weapon. Well, today was my weapon. So cheeky, man. What did you do when were you in the stadium, John, when this goal happened?
Yeah, man, I was in the wall. Watched it like from that angle, just curve like a
it curved
crazy. And I knew it, man. As soon as that flick happened and Pasalic was there, I was like, oh, what he's gonna hit this with his left. And I said to my friend next to you, he's not much of a soccer guy, but he loves to come to the games. And I was telling him like, oh, Marco, he's our new guy, and he's pretty good, man. I feel like he's better than Facu. And my friend was a really big fan of Facu, and he was like, no, Facu was awesome. And then about a minute later, Pasalic hits that ball. And then he goes, and my friend goes, damn, he is better than Facu. And I was like, yeah. I mean, they're different players in a lot of ways, but I was talking about this in preseason that I feel like our attack is going to be more free flowing. And I think this goal just shows that sort of like rhythm that we have already between the connection between Ojeda, Pasalic, Muriel, the flick for Muriel, the ball, and the way that Pasalic describes it in the press conference. It's like, oh yeah, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Like I knew when Muriel came in, like he was going to do the little flick. And then I knew Ojeda loves to play that ball to me centrally. So I just make the run. And then from there, it's just Marco doing what Marco loves to do best. I mean, not only because he likes to get on his left foot, but he can get in on his left foot anywhere within 30,
within
40
the box.
Yards. Yeah, like anywhere in that half on that side of the field, he will have a crack. And we saw that, preseason, we saw that. Well, every game, I feel like he's had an outrageous chance from a mile out that was like, oh, that was close, or oh, that was. And then this one was the one that everything just lined up. And yeah, as soon as he hit that, I was like, that's going in. The man definitely has a weapon of a left foot. Yeah. He's right.
The confidence this guy brings to the team.
I love it.
We have not seen this since Nani did. And I know people are going to be like, you're just smoking crack, Luis. No, I'm serious. We have not had this impactful player that literally you have your other left winger wide open, literally with his hands out, like Nabi, the meme. He's like this. Please, the ball, sir. And he's like, hell no, I'm gonna shoot it. And then he hit it, and he knew he was gonna score. He knew it was gonna be a goal. And then he even had the balls, sorry to say this, in the press conference say, my left foot is my weapon. I told you guys. So
he was right. He was right.
We haven't seen that confidence, I believe, since 9. I mean, this is a player that came, no title, no big name, no big accolades and flashy lights and all that stuff. He comes into a team, does what he's supposed to do, and makes an immediate impact. And that's why he has, I believe, 4 goals now. He's one of the top goal scorers in the MLS, if not the top goal scorer. So tremendous, Marco Pasalic. Dobro. I think that's hello in Croatian.
You know what I think it is as well? I think it's that he's the kind of guy that, like, not in a bad way, but like needs to be the star in a lot of ways. And I think he was bouncing around Europe. Like he was in Dortmund too. And there's so many stars there and he wasn't able to shine. And then I feel like, obviously in his club in Croatia, he was that guy. And then he's taken that same mentality and brought it here because he knows he's a DP and he knows how important he is to the team. But he owns that. You know what I mean? He's like, I am the star. It's my job to act like the star. My left foot is a weapon and I will perform. And that's what he does. And that's what he's done since he got here. And there's been no, warming up period. There's been no, let's wait and see if Pasalic can figure it out. He's here. He's arrived. He scores goals. He's a great player.
4-0 Orlando, and then obviously DC scored that goal. Angulo right there had one, and it didn't go well for him. Tincho was close to a second one as well. It could have been 5-0, 6-0. It was a massive game for the Lions. I think this is DC's goal right here. No, that's
Was it
Otero.
Angulo who hit the post late in the second half?
Yeah, I think we I think as a team, Orlando needs to feel very proud, not only to have Profe Baena, which is the goalkeeping coach, just top notch, but also 3 goalkeepers that they can definitely count on, and so good for Otero. I think it's great. Now, I do feel like, for some people, some people are brand new in Orlando and following the team, and they may not realize how important Pedro has been for the squad since the beginning. But again, people want meritocracy, right? And so he's right now very well paid, and right now, and I know if people are not ready to hear that, but in Orlando we have every time there's these, I don't know why we do that, and I don't know. I say we because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen with Dwight Howard and the Magic. I've seen it happen with Shaq. And I don't know if I'm going to see it with Pedro Galese. Yeah, take a pay cut. Get paid $200,000 a year. Go from 800,000 to 200,000. He's gonna go to LA and then win the big one too. You know what I mean? So, do we want that to happen again? It's like it's bringing because Pedro can go to any team right now in the MLS and be a top goalkeeper with a better defense. You give him the LAFC defense or give him, the Vancouver defense. He can definitely excel. He still has way added value. Now, I feel though that Pedro wants to stay here, and I feel like they're definitely going to offer him a multi-year contract because of his age as well. So, all right, we're ready to go to LA. John,
I want to say one last thing on this game. Yes, Benteke finally managed to win the ball there, and that's how they got that goal. But overall, for this game, they did a really good job marking Benteke, keeping him out of the game. He actually had the least touches. So he had 29 touches, which was the least of any outfield player in the 90 minutes. So that really shows, and he only had, I believe it was like 5 touches in our box or something like that. So, he did win a lot of aerial duels. He's going to do that. But overall, I think they did a really good job. The back line and Otero just shutting down Benteke, because that's all DC do is just play through him. So if you shut him down, they can't play. And that's what we did. They executed the game plan. So congratulations. I didn't think they would be able to do it as well as they did, but they did a really good job.
Tremendous. Let's read some comments. It says Otero claimed balls pretty well. Says Salty H2O. Wait, what happened to Angulo acting up? Is Oscar favoritism becoming a problem? Jeez. We need Will Smith to perform at the stadium during the next halftime show. Wish Paola was here. I always enjoy her input. Yeah, we wish she was here as well. A+ on whoever scouted him for DP. There you go. He backs up his stock. I love it, says Hunker Down. I'm assuming it's for Pasalic.
Yeah.
If we can keep the DPs healthy all season, we will be awesome. Thank God Muriel got serious. There you go. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. So let's go dive into LA. So LA, it's not so hot. It's not so hot. That's the truth. They're the 2024 MLS Cup champions. But it kind of makes me wonder, John, what would have happened if we would have gone to the final? we would have been talking. We would have been MLS Cup champions because I feel very confident.
Well, I would say LA last year and LA this year are two different teams,
Yeah.
right? Like just like they were having a terrible 23 and then 24 was incredible. 25 has not started as well. Of course, they're out Ricky Puig and they're out their other main DP player in Josip Pancel, but they just really not have a very good start to the year. You know, Champions Cup and in MLS, they've not been performing well. Recently, they've turned it around a little bit, having got a 1-1 draw versus Portland and a 2-2 versus Minnesota. The 2-2 Minnesota versus Minnesota is a much better result. 1-1 versus Portland. Portland, I don't rate very highly at all anyway, so not much there. But yeah, just LA are not the same team that they were last year. I mean, you can see here, you know, they're playing Christian Ramirez up front. Is their main guy now because they lost Jovic out to Sporting KC. Not massive on him. Gabriel Peck is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for this team at the moment. And the rest of the team, they're just not performing the same way. They had to get rid of some guys because their wage budget. So like the likes of Brugman is gone, and other players that were there last year to help them get that championship win. So I think you got to look at this LA and last LA as two different things. Yes, we're going to play the champs, but they are not the champs in form right now. They're really just a very average Western club at the moment, in my opinion. So I think the boys need to not look at this one and be intimidated at all because they won last year. Like I said, it's looking like a different LA.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, 110% what you said is correct when it comes to LA. Last year they look much better. Now I do believe that they're gonna get a little better. This is do or die for them this upcoming game. They have a brand new center back, which I'm surprised he came off the bench because he killed it in Colombia. I mean, he was one of the top prospects in the Colombian league. Carlos Garces. He scored the drawing goal against Minnesota. I think LA needs to have a tough talk with their backline sometimes, and see who's hotter. It's a team that you cannot just rely and just stay with the whole back fourth always. Go with a hotter hand. In my opinion, I feel like that's the way it is. Ramirez is to me, I still a really dangerous striker. I think he's shown it. Peck, again, like you said, carrying the ball, and I think Paintsel maybe having minutes against Orlando City. Now Paintsel, it's he plays very similar to Ivan Angulo. Very good on the 1v1. I feel physically is a little bit more imposing, and he can definitely finish the ball better. It's kind of like a mini Pasalic, and he killed it in Europe. So if they get him back, he's definitely going to be an added threat. Obviously, Fagundes will be coming off the bench, So, but from my understanding, so far, Paintsel is thinking of having minutes with LA. Right now, they're gonna probably lure him and ease him back into the starting 11, but they're desperate for a win, man. I mean, in front of their home crowd, record-selling season ticket holders last season because they won the championship, and then you give them, they haven't won a game yet, John. They haven't won a game at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, they won in Champions Club against Herediano, which I believe is like
Costa Rica.
Yeah, like Costa Rican team. So
yeah,
and they also lost to them. So wild to me. But beginning of the season, San Diego came out of the blocks and beat them at their own house. So a brand new team beats you 2-0. San Diego are looking like a pretty good side in the West. Vancouver also like a good side in the West. So maybe these results aren't so bad, but not a good start to the season for them. And then, 3-0 at home to St. Louis. That one for me was really bad. And I think a lot of people started to panic. It's turned a corner a little bit. They haven't lost in their last 3, but like I said, a draw against Portland, and I think someone put it Salty H2O here in the comments saying that that was an own goal in that Minnesota. So it's just not looking like the Galaxy of last year. So I don't think we should be intimidated based on the amount of goals that we're scoring at the moment. I feel like we can go there and put 2 or 3 past their defense, because their defense is pretty weak, and attacking wise, Alonso's like, watch out for, be careful with Ramirez. Sure. But I think compared to
Benteke,
I feel like they've got Gabriel Peck. They've got a couple of their like big threats, but they're not a complete team at the moment. And I don't think they're performing like a complete team at the moment at all either. So yes, we have to watch out for those guys. Any team you play in MLS is going to have 2 or 3 players that are really talented. You got to watch out for. But as a club and as a team on the whole right now, LA Galaxy are in, rocky world, and it's not started well for them.
Yeah, not only that, but like you said, no Ricky Push. And
that's a lot of it, man. Is like Ricky Puig was the whole center point. Yeah. And like Marco Reus is just, I don't understand why they signed Marco Reus, because he can't run like he used to. They don't play him as like a playmaker. So
what do you think they signed him, John?
They just signed him for the name, I guess, but the man he's not providing much, he's pulling an Insigne or a Shaqiri so far. So
right now, would you take Pasalic or will you take Reus?
Oh, I take Marco Pasalic 100%. I mean, for one, he's like 10 years younger. So, but Marco Reus was a once great player. Don't get me wrong. I just think that in MLS, if you sign an aging player who was an attacker, who can't do what he used to do, and you don't have a game plan, it's the same with Giroud. Like LAFC don't know what to do with Giroud. He's like a great player, but if you don't have a game plan of how to use that player correctly, it's just, what's the point? So Marco Reus for me is not being utilized at all, but I wouldn't know what to do with him anyway, because I don't think he's what he was.
Orlando needs to have a really defensive game, and so Orlando needs to repeat what they did against DC attacking wise, be very efficient, but also defend a little better, because they have Gabriel Peck, and I feel Rafa Santos is he could be a problem there. Now you have to understand, Peck was a star in Vasco. A lot of people are concerned why he's not in the national team of Brazil, but that's another story. Peck was in Vasco, top star. Santos was loaned out of Cruzeiro, and he barely played. So 2 different stories. I feel, knowing Pareja, he's going to go for Kyle Smith. I have a feeling Kyle is going to be important in this game, at least to close down Peck. Because I think that's one of the... Because, like John says right here, Reus is 50%. So right now, Reus, it's questionable as well. Yeah. It says... Benteke owns Orlando center back. Benteke's alone. Well, he couldn't score against Orlando.
Usually he does, Alonso, but not this game.
Orlando
he had that one header for their goal, and that was the only effective Benteke we saw.
The Orlando City has become a team. In order to beat them, you need to score goals, because Orlando will score. Yeah, that's true. I mean, no push. Painsil is injured still, and Ramirez and Peck are the 2 best weapons they got. Now, I do see a lot of fans upset sometimes with the back line. Sometimes the back line's having a good day. It's kind of like a similar trade as Orlando City. They see also, I read, I want to say hello to my friends from La Cuna Galaxiana, that we're going to be in their podcast very soon. This Thursday, actually. We're gonna probably promote it as well, help them promote the show, where we're gonna be doing the preview They were saying also that they feel there's an improvement defensively for them, from them, just being really bad and conceding so much. We'll see. Right now in the standings, if you look at the West, I don't know if you're able to pull up the standings for the West, John. Galaxy is looking, it's dead. It's second last, dude. Galaxy, look at that, man.
Yeah,
2 points.
I mean, the teams that are down here, like Seattle, are the only like team that I would be like, I don't know what you're doing, but they have Champions League, and Seattle will figure it out. Houston Dynamo, terrible so far this year, like just not
3
good at all.
former Lions in
They
there.
don't have a clue. And yeah, Nico's signed up for a fun time in Houston. Sporting KC are basically just dead. They're Peter Remiz is. They're just terrible. They're awful. They celebrated a 3-3, like they got a point because they came back and scored 3 goals. Great, but they celebrated a point like it was winning a game. That's where Sporting KC are at. So for LA Galaxy between these two teams, kind of shows you, where they started the season and what's going on. I did a really interesting episode with Goals TV with Jose and all those guys. And we did about 20 minutes on what's going up with LA Galaxy. And a lot of it comes down to the fact that they overpossess the ball. From what I've seen is like they're playing that because they love that possession ball anyway. But without Ricky Puig, they're not like actually able to progress the ball up the field and be that kind of ball dominant, attacking possession team. Now they're just side passing it. They had like, I think it was a game I remember talking about where they had like 500 passes or something, and the 400 of them were in their own half. So they're doing a lot of possession without a lot of substance. So I expect us
kind of like
to
Orlando City a
capitalize
couple of times.
like we were at
Like
some point
Orlando
under
used to be.
Oscar. Yeah, it was the possession for possession's sake, right? And I think that's what you're seeing from LA Galaxy. They have the ability to do that, but you can have the ball all day. If you don't actually create chances, then it doesn't matter. And I think we've shown that we're very good on the counter, and we're very aggressive in the way that we're attacking quickly up the field, very vertical in our attack. So if LA are gonna side pass and then they lose it, we're off. I also want to say, Luis, we didn't talk about this, but against DC, we saw a high press. And we saw a high press work pretty well. There was that moment, I think it was Angulo or Muriel won the ball up for Ojeda's second goal, for his goal. So, if we press LA Galaxy on their back line, they've shown this year several times where they just, they love to play out the back, and we can press them playing out the back and they can crumble.
Yeah, for sure. And talking about that, we'll read your comments in just a moment, but we're going to be doing our lineup for this game. I don't know if you're ready to do this, John.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the same as last game. Honestly, I don't see any changes. I think, Pedro coming back in is one, right? Sorry, I didn't think about that. Pedro coming back in, I think it's gonna happen. Then Alex Freeman, Schlegel, Jansen, and Kyle Smith across the back line. Rafa Santos is. I don't think should get back in.
I feel Kyle will play instead of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As I think, I wouldn't start Rafa. I just don't.
Yeah,
I think we're better off starting with Kyle. You can bring on Rafa for winning, and you want to attack more on that left side.
I think it's Rodri and Jansen. So this is our back four: Freeman, Rodri, Jansen, Kyle Smith, and Pedro. And then I think we're gonna keep seeing Atuesta.
Yep, and Cesar again, I'm sure.
And Cesar. Yeah. Now you have to understand Atuesta knows how to play against this LA team as well. So it means so much with and he very well knows that pitch. So obviously the attacking third, I think it's going to be untouched. I don't know if you feel like Oscar may be ready to put maybe Duncan or Ramiro, but I feel it's going to be Luis Muriel on the 9 again.
I think Muriel it's strange to say, but he's made that 9 spot his for right now. Like he's putting in the performances, and you want to put all 3 DPs out there. Angulo, like we talked about, is going to get in because of his defensive work rate. And right now, honestly, who else are you going to put there? Nico Rodriguez might be available, but definitely not ready to start. And we don't really have any other wingers. So
I thought you still had a couple more furniture in IKEA.
Right? Yeah. So I think it's great, man. I think consistency is good. You know, I don't see any issue with starting this lineup again. Obviously, the goalkeeper's different, but we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, so Pedro up top, Freeman, Rodri, Jensen, Kyle Smith, Araujo, and Atuesta, our combo here. Pasalic on your right, Angulo on your left, as your 10, Martin Ojeda. And then right here, right up top, it's going to be Luis Muriel. People are saying bench Angulo. Why are we benching Angulo?
Everyone, no one's a fan of Angulo right now. Look,
bro, it's like,
I do think Enrique on the left wing is a good shout. I think he'll come on and play left wing. I think we're going to see that. I just don't think they'll start. I don't think they'll start him there. But I would like to see a like 60th, 70th minute Muriel comes off for Duncan and Angulo comes off for Enrique, and you keep Pasalic and Ojeda out there, and let's see with those 4 what can happen. Yeah,
what the hell was that with Angulo? This Angulo thinks he's Vinicius.
If you guys missed it, you go back in the pod, and we do explain what all that commotion was happening with Angulo.
Yeah, so we're gonna do our predictions. Are you ready for do the predictions?
I got you here.
All right.
I already put the W in your column, Luis, because I know you're gonna say a W.
For sure. This is gonna be a first clean sheet for Orlando City.
Okay. What are you saying?
3-0.
3-0 at LA Galaxy. I mean,
we're gonna see an Ivan Angulo goal, and he's gonna celebrate like this.
That would be good. Angulo silences the haters.
Angulo. I think Angulo may score, and I think we're gonna see hopefully another 2 goals for Luis Muriel. It would be good for him to get hot.
I think we're gonna win 2-1. Is my guess.
We're gonna concede 1.
Yeah, I think 2-1. Yeah.
So we concede 1.
I think so. I just don't see us getting a clean sheet. I think a much better performance against DC, but it's not complete. And until we really see these guys see out a game, like even that game, you know what I mean? Like you gotta. There's a difference between playing 85 and playing 100, right? So we have to see out games, and I think LA Galaxy got enough in them to get 1 past us. So like we've not been great defensively. Yes, we're scoring the most in the league, but we're conceding a goal or more than that a game on average. So we've got to think that it's going to be a clean sheet. I'm all for it, but I don't know if we're there yet. Once we are, scary stuff for the rest of the league if we're still scoring like this.
So this is a chance to get hot before really start, like a win or a clean sheet or a win in general against LA Galaxy, far as hell. I'm sorry I'm saying this, but it's super far. Just I feel like the players could get more affected just by the flight itself. Okay, so getting a win here, I think it'll be great because you're playing against 2 top contenders in the East next. You're playing in Philly against Philly, which are one of the best teams in the East right now. A lot of momentum, a lot of positivity on that Philly team. And then you're playing the Red Bulls again at home now. So these are 2 teams that Orlando, this new Orlando City with the offensive traits and the offensive quickness and the defensive getting better, it will set up for hopefully Orlando for success of the upcoming games, especially in the beginning of April. So we'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that that's what's going to happen. I think Philly has shown, even though they clobbered us, I think she has shown some weaknesses here and there that they could exploit. And with the Red Bulls, I think that we had the chance to close it down. So we'll see what happens, John. Well, we wanted to thank you. We've been 110 people live. We have to go to the Pride Pod, which is starting in the next 5 minutes. So stay tuned for Loud and Proud Orlando. We are available on all social media outlets, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Subscribe. Drop us a thumbs up. John, anything else you want to say before we go?
No, just thank you to all of you who are here supporting. It was what a win it was. I want everybody to watch the LA game, and I can't wait to get back in that stadium and watch us score more goals, man.
Yep.
Good vibes. Good vibes this week.
Tremendous vibes. So hopefully everything goes well for the Lions coming up. And on Thursday, we'll be with La Cuna Galaxiana. We're going to be announcing and put the link, the YouTube link on our social, so you guys can also watch live if you guys want. And
I remember one more thing. I did an episode with the designated players with Andrew there. We recorded an episode that dropped earlier this evening on their channel. I'm going to repost it. So it's all about USL turning to Pro Rel, and we had a really good debate about what Pro Rel coming to USA means. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff and you're reminiscent of the old USL days, go check out that content. I'll be reposting that on socials.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys for your support. Again, subscribe, drop us a comment, and vamos Orlando. Take care, guys. Have a good one.